Let's cut that part out. Hi, my name's Lilli and I'm the founder of le.social. And welcome to le.social's channel and first episode, The Art of Events. I started le.social basically out of hearing that everyone was loving seeing the events I was putting on with my friends and family, as I do have about 2 decades of event experience. And I was hearing from other people how much they wish they had a friend or someone in their life that had the skill set that I had and could put on these types of events for them, for their special moments and special occasions in life. So obviously I can't be friends with every single person and offer that service to them. But then I thought I could. I said, what if I actually put me, but into a box, and somehow designed event kits or some way for people to basically hire something and come off as though that they are the friend just like me, and they've put together this amazing spread. By sneaky behind the corners, they've actually just hired the products that I ended up developing that make them put on an amazing, charismatic, very customized event to their loved one or for themselves as well. So that is basically where le.social started, was from just the need of people not really knowing much about events, but really wanting to make it special for their friends and family. So I thought, hey, why don't I start a business where I can offer that service to people? So now you must be wondering, why do we have a channel? So I also saw there were so many questions. What do I wear? How much should I be spending? As the host, how much should you be charging? All of these questions there wasn't really a direct place for you to go and learn about events, learn about the social protocols, learn about how to become better at hosting your own events without being a full-blown event manager. There wasn't really anywhere where you could go to find the source of, I guess, a place to discuss and be creative and be exposed to what are events? What are we doing with them? Why are they important? What are all different types of things you can do? Let's talk about the standards of when you attend a wedding. How much should people be giving? And should we be giving anymore? Or what is the social norm? The world is changing really fast, and we've got some very old traditions when it comes to events. And how is it changing? And just basically creating a forum and a place for people to ask questions, to also show new products, new different things, venues, ideas for hosting your events, and just really give people that opportunity to get a leg up and become the best host that they can be. Or if you're just generally interested and this is just an interesting thing, everyone attends events, everyone hosts them, everyone has them. So why is this not something that is talked about in a more central environment? So hence why we have The Art of Events, where we will go through everything from top to bottom, this, that, left, right, up, down, anything you can think of that has to do with socializing in a group and celebrating special moments of your life. We'll be going through that and discussing that and giving you guys the opportunity to connect with le.social in a bit more of an interactive way, and we can talk about the things that are really interesting for you guys as the viewers. So some of the segments that we're going to be having on this channel is the Feel Good Files, 0 Stars, Lilli Unleashed, Q&As, and also we'll be having some industry guests come on as well and join us in with some of those segments, and we'll be able to learn a lot about their industry, their particular business as well. The Feel Good Files is just a general space for us to share some really positive things that are happening and some great stories. Because I do find that a lot of channels and or podcasts do a lot more of the negative stories, but I really wanted to make sure we had a segment highlighting some of the really amazing things that are happening. Then we have 0 Stars, which is our horror story segment. So this is, like a lot of other channels, we'll go through some event horror stories and just have a bit of a chat about them as well and open that up to our guests and things like that, so they may join us on for those segments. Then we have Lilli Unleashed. So Lilli Unleashed is basically just an opportunity for me to get out into the community and trial some of these events. I haven't done absolutely everything there is, so I really just want to get out there and show you guys different venues, different activities, highlight some really good things that are going on in the community, and just experience them and show you guys, what types of things you can hold at those venues and what I would recommend that particular venue would host a really good type of event at. And also we're just going to go out and have a bit of fun as well and just show you what some of these activities that you can do for, say, your hen's party. What are they really like and how fun are they and what's actually involved in organising that as well. And I'll try and help you guys just get a little bit of information on if you were to do that for your event, things you'd have to think about and help you make sure that you're organising that in the best way possible. Then we have our next segment, which is just Q&As. So I will ask you moving forward on our social media to send in your horror stories, send in your good stories, send in your questions. So please, the more you interact, the more interesting this channel will be. And you'll probably get a moment to shine on this podcast as well. Shit, it's not a podcast. Let's cut that part out. My phone has grown. Now we're going to do our Q&A. So let's jump into some questions that people have either sent in or we've got them off Reddit. Here's some juicy questions everyone's been dying to ask professional event planners. All right. So event planners, where do you look for trends and inspiration when it comes to event planning? Example, when making the boxes, where do you draw your creative spark from? Is it seeing IG Reels or on Prop Shop or maybe even from events that you've previously been to? So really where the inspiration for my first 6 kits came from is, everything, Instagram, Pinterest, all the tools that everyone uses to, I guess, get their creative juices flowing. But I really looked at what were the trending kind of styles that were happening for baby showers, hens, those types of events. And I just tried to design kits that encapsulated as many of those trending themes that are going at the moment. So we've got our RIP kit, which can also be modified into a mob wife kit. So it's an all black aesthetic and it fits a bunch of different themes. So you could be death to my 30s, RIP to my last name, etc., etc. So I really drew it from what the girls were really getting into and the trends and just basically tried to design 6 kits that encapsulated as many of those trends at the moment. Yeah, so that's where I draw my inspiration from. And then really it then just gets built from what's available, what I can use, what I can actually buy. I had to make a lot of things from scratch and come up with a lot of stuff completely on my own. So you'll see with a lot of my kits, things are very unique. You can't buy them. I have pulled a bunch of things and made them together. So one of the things that I have made from scratch is the giant bouquet that we've got here. So yes, you can buy the individual giant flowers, but nowhere can you buy or hire a giant flower bouquet. So that is one of my little items that I've got. And if you jump on my website, you'll be able to see there's lots of original things that I've put together in my kits because I'm all about fitting the trend perfectly. Let's move on to the next question. Event planners, what drew you to joining this part of the planning spectrum? Was it the classic one time I went to this event, it was so bad, I had to make sure no other events followed in its footsteps, or was it something completely different? For me, event planning personally has been something within my family. I grew up with a very creative, very charismatic family, not a super wealthy bougie one when it comes to events, as in we literally made everything from scratch. We didn't have the online platforms like that you can buy stuff off now. We literally had to make everything from scratch and we were really good at it. So it was something that really was built into me from a really young age. And I've always had really charismatic birthdays, and going on through to all the other major birthdays of my life were always these like eccentric kind of themed parties. And even every year at Christmas, we have a very eccentric themed family Christmas. So it's very much something that's just been the blood drive of my family. My sisters are all very much the same. The rest of my family, we all get really into it. And then I just found myself naturally in this industry. I did start out as a professional dancer, and that had its own creative element, but I ended up finding myself in event management in non-for-profits. And then that's just continued on through my life, now being able to put on awesome hens and all of the above, all the events that I've put on for friends and family. Also, I want to add to that is that, yes, I do go to events all the time, and I'm just like, what are you doing? So easy, so simple. But as you know, it's not actually easy and simple for all people, hence then why le.social has come out of those types of situations. So completely agree with that, and that is definitely something, as somebody that loves events, I do really struggle to go to events that aren't done properly.
Alrighty, so next question. Planning your own life as an event planner. I'm going mad. Okay, this is going to be interesting, this one. I'm looking for tips from other event planners for people who are chronic workaholics. That's a little bit me, especially when it comes to this business. I am addicted to doing it. It's really fun and I love it. Okay, I'm 29, almost 30, female. This is not me, by the way, it's another person. Working in the event industry for almost 10 years.
I'm a venue coordinator full-time at a university, and we host internal events along with outside rentals, some of which include weddings.
They do. Weddings and universities? That's interesting. I don't know if we do that in Australia. I am also a part-time wedding planner with a local company. I have since added on freelance wedding planning at my full-time venue as well as outside gigs.
So this lady's pretty busy and doesn't know how to just keep all her eggs in one basket. I feel that energy. Lastly, I am a bartender and freelance bartender on occasions. Okay. Special events are special days, and special days take up weekends and nights, aka any time for a social life. How does one manage one's life when everyone else's life is in their hands? Okay, that's dramatic, but truly, how do I get anything done around my house or with my husband? While I have clients calling and texting me at all hours of the day about their wedding, this is one of the biggest moments of their life, and I'm helping make that happen. Few notes. It is impossible to stay within office hours
when you're working in events. That's very true, especially when you're doing events like weddings. They're not all bridezillas, but stressed brides, let's just call them that, very much feel like they can contact event planners at any hours and they need to back into their call immediately. I don't know why they think that. It just seems to be a thing in the event industries. Clients work during the day and have to do their planning sessions at night or on weekends. Yes, I could not give out my number and try so hard not to.
But for some clients, they suck at answering emails. And when we are down to the wire with planning the event, we need quick answers. Well, that's Gabby on Reddit. So Gabby, you need to start a business like mine. So Gabby from Reddit, not going to throw out live advice, but maybe you should just decide to take a step back with some of your roles. I do think that being an event planner, if we take away the fact that you're doing multiple things, it is standard, even if you do just have one, maybe two jobs in the event industry, is, yeah, you do just have to set some boundaries with your clients. That's what I've done in the past.
I totally get everything that Gabby on Reddit is talking about. This is very much a problem for somebody that's in the event industry. Obviously, this lady has a lot of jobs, so that does sound like a lot to manage. But for myself, I did experience this kind of problems when I was a full-time event manager in a full-time role for a company. Yeah, you don't get your weekends, you miss out on all your own special events with your family and things like that. And I guess that's just the sacrifice you make when you work in the event industry. That's just comes along with it. So it's not really much that can be done by that. I think maybe putting some boundaries in with your clients doesn't hurt, but that's really the reason why I left the industry, is because I am a very social person. I love my friends, love my families, I love my weekends. I work very hard during the week. You want to be there for those moments and not missing out on any of that stuff. And I definitely don't like missing out on things. So that's why I started le.social. So I really started le.social just based out of the fact that I really wanted to continue working in events. I'm very passionate about events. I love celebrating. I love making people feel special. And I think events are, how you decorate them and how you run them really does show someone how special they are to you.
But I still wanted to share my skills and knowledge with everybody else and put that kind of event creativity in their hands. And then you get a little bit of self-satisfaction out of it as well, because you built and put the kit together as well. So you can add your own little flair to it. All right, next question. To specialize or not. I run an event management company in Christchurch, New Zealand. We were really toying up the idea of whether to specialize in a certain area or not. We deliver a number of running events and festivals, and it's where we excel, but we're not sure there's enough work in that field to fulfill our ambition. Thoughts? Look, I think when you specialize, you then find more clients. It can obviously disrupt when you do decide to not do, say, other types of events. You are going to get a lull in your business and things like that until you fill it up with other clients. But I don't think there's any risk in specializing. I think specializing is actually probably a good idea because then you just become so good at what you do. And as a business owner, you reduce your costs, your staff are less stressed because it is more repetitive as well. So specializing is definitely a good idea. If you were a business that did more and you want to narrow it down to something more specific, you will probably see a lull in your clients and your income, but you prepare for that as a business. But specializing is a good idea because then you become the singular person that they go to for that specific event and that specific product. And then you become the only one that everybody wants to go to because you're so good at it. So again, looping back to le.social, I decided to specialize in something. It didn't really exist. It was a massive hole in the market. So I decided to specialize in something that didn't exist, obviously, but of course my business is not a business that currently exists. I searched to try and find it, to see what they're doing and maybe work off that, but I couldn't find anything anywhere remotely close to what I do. You can do some DIY stuff, but they don't give you the tools and resources that I give you. I give you instructions for visual learners, for readers, everything. So I cover all bases. And there really wasn't anybody out there giving that extended hand. So I specialized and I narrowed it down to exactly this. Okay, so that's a wrap on our first episode. Thank you so much for being here with me on my very first time doing this. It's been a wild ride to get to this spot, so I'm really glad that we're here and we're going to have a really fun journey. So thanks for staying tuned to the end, and if you've got any wild stories or good, bad, please send them in to us so we can share them on here. Drop any questions or comments below. We'd love to hear from you and interact with you and get to know our audience. Don't miss the next episode. We have some really good stuff coming up. You're going to love it. And we will be joined by our very first special guest from the events industry, Brooke from Heartfelt. She's going to be here with us and we'll get up to some fun and interesting event chit-chat. So please, I love you.